Okay, so we know that there are like 3 wires that we can use. One is a twisted pair, the other is coax, and the other is fiber optic. So the question is, what's in between? What's in between is a whole bunch of cables and patch panel, and of course the workhorse of all networks is called a switch. It's called a switch. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, let's rock and roll, baby. TTC. This. Oops. Okay. All right, let's rock and roll. Let's move it up. Let's finish this up. So we have 9:17. Try to get you out by 10:30. At the latest. Okay. All right. Log in. Edu, right? Is that the new Dean? Is that the new Dean? Okay. Let's do it. Cooking with Christmas. All right. I'm gonna do Blackboard. Blah blah. So not connected. Hardware.
I'm the same problem.
Lesson. Networking. Mr. D. We'll do the numbering system next week. Let's just finish these videos. Okay, we did the transmission meeting. We got twisted pair, coax, and fiber, and then an antenna. I deleted it.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
What's your name?
That's my name.
Say it again.
Christian.
Christian and I are having difficulties signing in.
Okay, go find another table.
Oh, that one. Oh. Okay, thank you. It's right here. Yes.
Y'all figure it out?
Yes.
If there's a problem, no one. I'll open up these videos so you can see it. So let's talk about the patch panel now.
Tackling your security concerns starts with a prompt. With Sola AI, you get answers to this.
Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be talking
about
about
patch
patch panels. Now, a patch panel is a flat piece of hardware with network ports that is typically located in a server room or wiring closet. And its purpose is to reduce clutter by keeping your network cables neat and organized. A patch panel is similar to a keystone jack and wall plate. The difference is that a patch panel has a large number of ports and is installed on a server rack near a switch. And a wall plate has a small number of ports and is installed in a wall near a networking device, such as a computer. So the first question is, do you need a patch panel?
No.
Well, no you don't. It's not essential. But if you want to keep your network cables neat and organized, it would definitely help. So as an example, in a typical office building using an Ethernet network, you're going to have computers and networking devices that need access to the network. And all throughout this building, you're going to have Ethernet cables running inside the walls to all the rooms that have computers.
Right.
And then the wires in those Ethernet cables will be punched down into RJ45 keystone jacks.
Right.
And then those keystone jacks will be attached to the wall plates, and then those wall plates will be installed all throughout this building. And then from there, you're going to have Ethernet cables plugging the computers into those wall jacks. And at the other end of those cables need to be connected to a switch so that all the devices can be networked together and so they can also access the internet. So here, all the cables are connected to the switch.
Okay.
And now the network is
What's
complete.
bad about this?
Now you can leave it like this because it works. But as you can see, the cables are not organized. There's a...
Isn't this ugly? What's classroom 8? Computer 12. Where is it? I don't know. You finna get fired. Because if I walk in, I see this right here, I'm like, who's the cable installer? Get rid of them.
How do you
And go
type
find
in
somebody
the
that know what they're doing.
project
Because
6?
I can't troubleshoot this. Well, technically you can. It's called with a toner. You go and you tone from one end to the other.
I'm not doing
Huh? What the hell? That means I gotta tune all, in order to find this computer, I gotta go and tune every computer on every floor? Oh, you fine.
That's overtime.
Yeah, don't put, yeah, not on my dime, on your dime. Okay? I'm the IT director. This is a no-no. Can we fix this? Let's fix it. Fix
A lot
it.
of clutter, and if there was a problem with a computer connecting to the network due to a defective cable, it'll be very hard to pinpoint individual cables in this clutter. So this is where a patch panel can help. By installing a patch panel,
See it?
instead of the cables being directly plugged into this switch, the cables will be connected to the back of this patch panel. So if we take a look at the back, in this particular patch panel, the wires are going to be punched down. So the RJ45 connectors will be removed from each cable, and then the wires in the cable will be punched down to the back of this patch panel. And then the final step is to connect the patch panel with all its connections to the switch. And this is done by attaching short patch cables, connecting a port from the patch panel to a port on the switch. And now this network is complete.
Okay.
And to even add more organization, the patch panel will have an area where the ports can be easily labeled so you can identify which cable comes from where.
That's right.
So as you can see from before and after, the patch panel makes your cables neat and organized in a centralized location. So patch panels offer several benefits. In addition to organizing your cables, they also make troubleshooting and maintenance jobs a lot easier, and they are inexpensive. Hey guys, I want to tell you about my sponsor for this video, which is Masterworks.
Really?
With inflation really surpassed its pre-pandemic and Masterworks
You
yet,
gotta be
but there's a
kidding. Seriously?
now, some of you might be asking, well, what's the difference between a patch panel and a switch? Well, a switch is a power device that actively and intelligently routes data, and switches are significantly more expensive. But a patch panel doesn't require power. It's just a piece of hardware that acts as a connection point for cables. It does the same thing as a keystone jack and wall plate.
It organizes.
Now, there are also different ways that cables attach to the back of patch panels.
Yes.
So in the Ethernet example that we used, if we take a look at the back, and as I stated earlier, this particular patch panel is a punch-down type, where the wires are punched down
What kind of
using
cable
a
is this?
punch-down tool into the
Twisted
patch
pair.
panel.
What
But
kind of cable is this?
Twisted pair.
Okay, everybody see that?
Yes, sir.
So what are the 3 types of cables we can use in networking?
Coax. Twisted.
Coactive.
Okay, this one's twisted pair. We good? It's gotta be another way we can do this.
Coactive fiber and
Coax.
twisted pair.
That's right. Ready?
there are also other types, such as keystone blank patch panels. These panels have empty slots that support standard-sized keystone jacks. So instead of the wires being punched down directly into the patch panel, the wires are punched down into standard keystone jacks, and then those jacks are inserted individually into the patch panel. And another type are coupler patch panels. These panels contain couplers where cables can just plug into with RJ45 connectors. So these are toolless panels that don't require the wires to be punched down. Patch panels also come in different types, depending upon what kind of network you're running.
Okay.
There's Ethernet, which we
Twisted pair? What is this one?
Fiber.
How do you know it's fiber?
So they
You see
connect.
2? Transmit, receive, transmit, receive, transmit, receive, transmit, receive, transmit, receive. I have 24 fiber cables. Each fiber cable has to have a transmit and receive. You see it? What is this right here?
Coax.
How do you know it's coax?
By the head. Sorry.
Like one cable, right?
Mhm.
Eh? twisted pair, fiber, coax. How many cable types do we have in networking? Go.
3.
What are they?
Twisted, coaxial, and fiber.
Can y'all remember that?
He has talked about fiber optic and coaxial.
There we go. You done?
So guys, I want to thank you for watching this video on patch panels.
Okay, we got the patch panels now, so let's see. We got a network card. We know that the network card can be connected using 3 types of cable, one of 3. Twisted pair, coax, and fiber. Now, in between the 2 computers, there's a whole bunch of crap. More cables, distribution panel, switches, routers, firewalls, all kind of crap. So you learn about that stuff later. Right now, we're just learning the basics. Okay. Now, I love this cat. Let's listen to him. Mike Myers.
Welcome to the equipment room for Total Seminars. Now, in a structured cabling situation like what we have here, we have a pretty small network. So I have just this one little rack with some equipment on it. Now, first of all, this is a 19-inch rack, and that's pretty much the standard for all equipment racks. Now, if you take a look behind me, you can actually see the blue and white cables that are the horizontal runs coming in for all the devices all over my network. Now, there are 2 different ways that we can look at the equipment room. Number 1, you're going to have what's known as your main distribution frame, or MDF. In my office, this is the main distribution frame. You can see behind me there's all kinds of connections to the outside world, and this is where it all comes together, is right here. Now, in 10 years, when Total Seminars becomes this huge megalopolis of training, and we have a 6-story building, I'll have equipment racks on every floor. And while this one will stay the main distribution frame, there'll be other equipment racks on other floors which would act as what we call intermediate distribution frames. So make sure you're comfortable with MDF and IDF. Now, there's a lot of different pieces that are on my equipment rack, so let's take a look at them, starting up at the top.
Okay.
Okay, so starting up at the top of the equipment rack, the first thing I want you to notice is my patch panel. So the back of that patch panel has 110 punch downs, and you can actually see the blue and white cables that are coming from the top, and those are all terminated into the back of my patch panel. Now, scrolling down here just a little bit, that is cable management, folks. I don't like my patch cables draped all the way down, so I push them into that little area there, and it's just a convenient way to keep things a little bit neater. Now, directly below that is my primary switch. This is the switch that everybody's connected to on my network. And you can tell by all the little lights, they're a little bit hard to see, but you can see them towards the left, that this is a very, very busy switch. Directly below that is a router. Now this router is a developmental router, so I haven't really got it up and working right now, but you can see there's one piece of Ethernet cable going into one end. Later I'll have it working a little bit better. So these are the main pieces of my structured cabling system. But what I want you to notice is that they're different heights, and these are called U's. So let's zoom in a little bit onto one side of the equipment rack so that we can understand what a U is. Now, keep in mind that people put all kinds of stuff into these 19-inch equipment racks, so we have to have a standardized height. This standardized height is called a U, and you can actually see they're marked here very, very prettily on my equipment rack. So 1 U right here is 1 3/4 inches. So this switch right here is a 1 U switch. This cable management clump right here is 2 U. So everything that you buy that you put into an equipment rack is going to be measured in U's so it'll fit. Everything uses the same type of screw, and they fit in nicely, and it allows for a nice uniform look on equipment racks. Pretty much the only thing left on my equipment rack are my servers. Total Seminars really isn't that big of a company, so we don't have racks and racks of servers like you'd see at larger companies. However, we do have a few servers here. Let me show them to you. Now, starting up at the top, I've got 2 1U servers. I can tell they're 1U because they fit within the 1U marker. So there's these 2 guys. They're actually not even turned on right now. They're developmental. I use them when I'm playing around and experimenting. We have 2 servers that do most of the heavy lifting. So right here is a server. This is a one-use server, and we actually call these pizza box servers because, well, they kind of look like pizza boxes. The reason they slide out like this is for maintenance. You see this with a lot of servers today. It's very, very convenient. Down here is a 5U server. You can actually see it says 5Us. This is a big server. Now this guy is my primary file server. He's just got tons of storage, and he's actually a desktop system. It's tilted over. Anyway, the bottom line is that I've got tons of hard drives in here. He works really, really hard for a living. Okay, so that's basically what it boils down to in terms of my equipment rack. I've got some UPSs at the bottom for power and things like that, but that's really what it's all about here. Now, do keep in mind that this is my main distribution frame, and as an MDF, it has internet connectivity. I would like to show you what I have behind you, but before I do that, I gotta head you over to the DMARC. Welcome to the DMARC for my office building. The DMARC separates that which is the property of the phone company or the cable company versus what's yours. So what we're looking at here is a bunch of equipment that's owned by phone company or cable company, whatever it might be. Now, typically the DMARC separates the telephone company or cable company's equipment from yours, but this is a leased building, so things are a little bit different here. To help explain that, let's take a look at this cable connection right here. This right here is it's basically a multiplexer or a splitter that comes from the cable company. We've got a great big chunk of coax coming into the bottom of this, and this little splitter is designed to service 4 different customers. Now, if you're going to be doing cable, you need a cable modem. So typically, in the DMARC area, we would have a cable modem that would act as our true DMARC. But because this is a leased office, we have offices all over this building, everybody has their own piece of equipment. So we cannot end the DMARC right here. We actually have to run this cable over to our office and create a DMARC extension. Welcome back to my equipment room. Now what we're seeing here is this big cable here on the right is the one that just we saw at the DMARC. So it's coming down here in my equipment room, and it's running down along here. Yeah, they shoved me in here somehow to get this shot. And it comes down along, it goes through some splitters because we use this for television as well as our internet. And this connector right here comes up and connects into my cable modem. So we couldn't bring my network to the DMARC, so we extended the DMARC to my network. And that's why this box, which is not my property, is the DMARC extension. This piece of Ethernet cable right here, I own that. So this is really where the separation takes place. So that's a DMARC extension. Wow, we covered a lot of ground in this episode. There's a lot to do when it comes to equipment rooms. For the Network Plus, keep in mind that I want you to remember there's a difference between a main distribution frame and an intermediate distribution frame.
Okay, so we got that down. So what do you think? I know it's an intro. We're just doing hardware. We gotta stick with hardware for this class. This is how it is. Don't worry. Let's get network fundamentals. Oh yeah. All right, so let's do a recap. We got a network interface card, right? Network interface card. The network interface card will take all those ones and zeros that are inside the computer and take them out to the network. Because the goal is to go to the internet so we can go to Amazon and buy Mr. Darrow a Christmas present. Eh? Okay. So here's the big question mark that we've been talking about all day. We know this is network interface card. The short is NIC. Network interface card. NIC. Is there a NIC in this computer? Yes. Okay. This is a review. Okay. Now, the question mark is, how do we get those ones and zeros off the network interface card? 2 ways. What are they?
Wired
And
wireless.
wireless. Let's do the easy one. What kind of device do we use for wireless? Okay. That's not bad. And this is usually the hard one right here. Actually, it's the easy one. What are the 3 ways? What are the 3 types of, I'll just say it. What are the 3 types of cables? Go.
Twisted cables.
Twisted.
Pair.
Use the right term.
Twisted pair.
Twisted pair. And
Coax.
coax. And my
Fiber.
favorite, fiber. Okay. Remember that this is a hardware class, right? Hardware. Is this not hardware?
Yes.
So now we've got our cable types and with an antenna, that'll get the ones and zeros. Now let's talk a little bit more about what do we have out here. Okay, well, Sonny said that if you have a computer, Sonny says, here's your computer, right? Here's a computer box. That's in a desktop, right? This is a desktop. Inside the desktop is a network interface card. Network interface card. Now he chose twisted pair, and we're going to choose twisted pair too. So you take a cable between the network card and the wall plate. The wall plate right there. Right? And you take that cable and go to the wall plate. Then he says you run that blue cable behind the wall, go all the way on over there. Okay? So let's do it. You want to use blue? Because it's blue. Can it be red? White? Yellow? Color don't matter. For some reason, usually white or blue. I don't know why. It used to be when I was coming, it was always a white cable. But then they started doing colors. They made it blue. Blue cable. All the way up the ceiling. Way on over here to that room right there. Okay? Then we come down, and a whole bunch of these cables. Then we have this thing that's called a 19-inch rack. 19-inch rack. So I'm gonna do my rack like this. I didn't say Iraq. I said rack. Been there, done that. Okay. And because my man said we're gonna make this thing organized, what should we use? Patch panel? Patch panel, organized, right? So we're gonna take that blue cable and we're gonna connect, let's just use one jack right here to make it simple, right? We only have one computer. We're gonna take that to the back of this thing, we're gonna punch it in, boom, 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 boom. We good? Are we cooking with Crisco? Then we're gonna label it. We're gonna say room what? Room 1? Computer 1. That's our label for that jack. Is this thing smart?
No.
No. What's the purpose of the patch panel? Organized. Man, I love that. I'm still in there. Organized. Now here comes the mamma jamma. This is a thing called a switch. Switch moves those ones and zeros all over the place. And it has a bunch of jacks on it, right? Depends on how much you want to pay for it. Now to be honest with you, if it's a big place like this, like Gwinnett Tech, it's gonna be a big time switch like what you just saw in there. But if it's for a small office or a home office, it's gonna be a device that's called a SOHO. Small office, home office, or what I like to call an all-in-one device. And usually the all-in-one device looks like this. It has 4 little jacks in it. This will be your switch. It has a connection to the internet service provider. And hey, guess what? It's got what on it? An antenna. It does it all. But we don't have that in this building because this is Gwinnett Tech and they got money. And they have a whole bunch of people connected to the network, right? So they're not gonna use this thing that's called a SOHO, but you will at your house. You probably got one right now if you wanna get to the internet. So let's go back to this. So I got my computer, network card, a cable. We call this cable a patch cable because it's just a patch. Patch cable, right here. Network card to the wall is a patch cable. Long cable here, go all the way to the patch panel, and then we get another little patch cable that connects to the switch. And the switch is here. SWITCH. Switch. We talk more about what a switch does in Net Plus. All right? Are we okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, there's one more device that you'll probably hear about, and it's called a router or firewall. You want to throw it in here? Let's throw it in here. It usually has 2 jacks on it. Sometimes you see 4. we'll take one cable, a patch cable, from the switch and connect it to the firewall router. And we take the other one, this is what Mike Myers was saying, is take it to the demarcation, which belongs to the Internet Service Provider, ISP. And that could be what? Give me an ISP, go. AT&T, who else? Xfinity, Comcast actually.
Spectrum.
Comcast, how about
Spectrum.
T-Mobile, Spectrum? Whole bunch of them, right?
What does that say? What does that C-word say under AT&T?
Comcast,
Comcast.
and then Spectrum, and a whole bunch more. Right? I use AT&T, so it's AT&T. Now, do you see the diagram I just gave you?
Yes, sir.
Can you visualize this? Right? So that's my question mark right here. The question mark is all of this. That's the question mark. Patch cable, wall plate. Wall plate through the wall, patch panel, patch cable, a switch, and from the switch, a firewall router, and then from the router, AT&T. All right, let's talk about the network card now. Let's see what we got. Yep, and then we'll be finished. 3 videos.
Was there an ISP in there? Mr. Darrell?
See it?
No, I mean in there, in that room.
Oh, I'm sorry, brother. Probably not. Not in this building, probably the ISP is probably 100 building. That's what I'm thinking.
That's what
I looked in there, I didn't see it. I just saw, this is what we call an IDF. This building has an IDF. They're not gonna have a direct connection to the internet. The internet, I can tell you right now, I already saw it. I ain't gonna tell you what, hell, you probably saw it. In the other building, 100 building, all the way over there by the library, you walk down that hallway, you'll see a big room that says data center. That's where the ISP connection is. What do you think? I could be wrong, I don't know. I didn't build this, I didn't design the building. All right.
Give your child the
Look at this
academic
network card
foundation
right
that
there.
opens every door. At AOPS Academy, bright minds discover their potential.
What the heck is going on, guys? Welcome to your 9th computer networking tutorial. And in this video, I want to talk to you guys about NICs. N-I-C, no, not people named Nick or anything like that. I want to talk to you guys about network interface cards. Now, first of all, what the heck is a network interface card? Well, it's the part of your computer that allows you to connect to the internet. So basically, if you were wondering, all right, can any computer, you buy from a pawn shop or anything, connect to the internet? Well, no. Every computer can't connect to the internet. In order to do so, it needs one of these things, a network interface card. So what the heck is this, other than, it's the part of the computer that allows you to connect to the internet? Well, basically, what it does is part of this, and this would be on this one, this part right here is gonna connect to your computer, and by your computer, I mean your motherboard. Another part of it, on this one, it's this part right here, this little outlet, is gonna connect to an Ethernet cable, and they have different network interface cards, but this is a Ethernet one. It's gonna connect to some kind of communications media and allow you to connect to a network. So basically, remember, a network interface card is made up of kind of 2 halves. One that connects to your computer,
Right.
and one that connects to a communications media. In this case, this is an Ethernet plug. Now, in this example right here, we see a computer, and this is actually your motherboard, this big blue thing that says Gigabyte on it. And where your network interface card would go on a desktop is right here. There are a bunch of little slots on your motherboard, and your network interface card would plug into one of those, and that would leave the Ethernet plug, or whatever, maybe it's a transmitter of some sort, it would leave it exposed on the outside so you can plug Ethernet cords into it, or it would be able to accept Wi-Fi. So this is where they go. If you're looking in the inside of your computer, you can easily identify it because it's a big, long thing that looks like this, and it's going to be plugged into one of the slots on your motherboard. Now, again, if you guys don't even know what Ethernet is, this is what I mean by Ethernet. It pretty much looks like a really thick telephone wire.
What kind of cable is
and
that?
it plugs into a plug that looks like pretty much a big telephone outlet to a pretty much
What kind of
looks like-
cable is that? That's the connector. What kind of cable? All right, what kind of cables do we have in networking? 3 types, go. Look at that. Is it coax?
No.
Is it fiber?
No.
It's gotta be
Twisted.
twisted pair. Okay. We good?
a really thick telephone wire, and it plugs into a plug that looks like pretty much a big telephone outlet. So that's what I'm talking about when I say Ethernet, and I want to stress that because the Ethernet port or the Ethernet card is not the only card that you can have.
Uh-oh.
You can also have a Wi-Fi card.
Get out of here.
This is a desktop Wi-Fi
Hush
card.
your
Of
mouth.
course, if you guys are like, all right, my laptop connects to Wi-Fi, but it certainly doesn't have one of these big antennas right here. Well, for laptops, they typically don't have these anymore. This is just for a desktop to get a better connection. But I just want to give you guys this quick example because I want to stress that yes, there are indeed Ethernet network interface cards, and there are also wireless internet, or excuse me, wow. Once you talk for like 2,000 tutorials, sometimes you mess up your words. There are wireless network interface cards, and as we go on these tutorials, we're going to be learning a little bit more about different types of network interface cards and how some are faster than others and the benefits of some over others, and we'll be talking about that more in detail later on. But for now, let me go ahead and show you guys something really cool. If you're on Windows right now, you can go ahead and click the start button, and whenever it says search button right here, if you type devmgmt.msc, what this is going to do is, this is pretty much the program that opens your device manager. So this is pretty much your device management system. Just go ahead and press enter, and this device manager is going to pop up.
There's got to be a better way than doing that. Just Windows 11, man. Right click start, go up to where it says device manager, and bam. What is he talking about? Who's doing that? I'm old and I know better. Can we continue? Oh, you want to say that again? Right click start, go up to what?
Device manager.
Device manager. Hello. You want to do this again, brother? Are we there now?
Yeah.
So ignore what he just said.
Now if you're like, what the crap is all this stuff? Well, what this is pretty much all of the pieces of your computer, from your keyboard to your motherboard to your memory, your processor. And if you look under the section that says network adapters, you might see one option if you have your if you didn't buy a network interface card separately. If you have one option, that means that you have it already built into your motherboard, which typically most desktops do nowadays, most motherboards at least. And the one I have right now is a Realtek PCIe GBE family controller. It's just a long name, and that's what network interface card I have. So if you're bored and you want to check out your network interface card and you're too lazy to actually look behind your desktop like I am, then this is how you do it. And also, if you ever need yours replaced or it breaks or anything, and the guy wants to know, I don't know, maybe at the computer repair shop, what kind is compatible with your motherboard, you can just look in here and you can see it. So again, whenever we're troubleshooting and we can't connect to the internet, this is one of the places we go and make sure that everything is working out correctly. But for now, I just wanted to show it to you guys in case you were interested. Okay. So anyways, thank you guys for watching.
You gotta show that woman. Really? We doing this? Okay, installing a Soho network. 950. I gotta do this one because it's a part of your reading assignment.
Ghost Pepper Cheesesteak is back at Penn Station. Try one before it vanishes.
So what's a Soho?
Cybersecurity today is so messy and expensive. And why did...
Okay, Soho network.
If you work in a large corporation, you probably have a data center, and that data center has many racks of equipment. You have routers and switches and firewalls and intrusion prevention systems and many other components that make up your networking infrastructure.
Yep.
But if you're in a small office, home office, that's a SOHO, you don't have room for all of these devices, and a lot of this functionality can be collapsed down into one single device.
Right.
And that would be the SOHO router. This is the SOHO router that I use for my studio, and you can see it's a single device, but there's a lot of functionality inside of this one device. It connects to my Comcast cable modem network. There's connectivity on the back for Ethernet. There's also connectivity on the back for telephones. All of these interfaces on the back are switched. There's a firewall inside of this. There's a wireless access point. And so a lot of functions are inside of this single all-in-one device. Your SOHO router is going to have routing functionality that connects you to the outside world, usually over a DSL connection or a cable modem connection. And this is what's going to allow you to route between your internal private network and the external internet network.
Okay.
SOHO routers also very commonly have a switch built into them. This one has 4 individual interfaces. It's a single VLAN, and you have 4 devices that you can plug in with an Ethernet cable. One of the advantages behind the design of these SOHO routers is there's not a lot to configure. This is automatically going to perform network address translation between your WAN ports and your LAN ports. And that network address translation is all configured automatically. You simply need to plug in the connections, power up the router, and you'll have connectivity to the internet. Many SOHO routers also include wireless access point functionality along with the switching and the routing that it's already doing. And of course, you can configure many aspects of that wireless configuration. One of those is that you can configure which frequencies you'd like to use. You can, of course, configure which bands you'd like to communicate on, whether it's 2.4 gigahertz and or 5 gigahertz. You can also define the SSID name you'd like to use. This would be the name of the wireless network that appears in the list of available networks when you connect. You get to choose the security mode over the wireless network, which is how the data will be protected as it goes through the air. Normally, the WPA2 encryption is a good choice, and many wireless routers allow you to set a shared key that everyone will use, or you can configure an enterprise configuration where every user will put in their own username and password to gain access to the wireless network. And finally, you can decide what channel or set of channels you would like to use for this particular access point to provide that connectivity for your wireless devices. Both the wide area network connection and your local area connections on that SOHO router need to have IP addresses assigned to them. When you first connect the wide area network connection, you'll usually get the IP address assigned automatically through DHCP directly from your internet service provider. Some service providers also require that you add authentication into the router's configuration before it's able to be used on the network. For the inside of the network, the SOHO router is usually a DHCP server itself. So you'll simply plug in any device into the SOHO router and it will automatically get an internal IP address. These IP addresses are defined on the SOHO router itself. My internal studio addresses, for example, have a 10.1.10.0 network. You can see the .1 is my gateway address. Then I have a DHCP range that starts at .2 and ends at .50. So anytime I plug in a device to my network, my SOHO router is automatically going to assign an IP address from that available pool. DNS servers are also important to have in your configuration. These are passed to the clients during the DHCP process. If you leave these blank on my router, it uses the same DNS configuration that's on the wide area network connection. If you have your own internal DNS servers or you would like to use other DNS configurations, you can add them into the configuration here. If you're plugging a wired Ethernet device into the back of your SOHO router, it's probably set to auto-negotiate its speed and duplex. But of course, you can configure those manually on the devices that you're connecting. Usually it's going to automatically define what speed you'll be using, whether it's 10, 100, or 1000 megabits per second, and it will decide what duplex it needs to configure, either half duplex or preferably full duplex. If you're connecting a device over the wireless network, then obviously you'll need to enable or disable that wireless adapter, and then usually your wireless network needs to be selected from a list, and you'll need to provide a password to gain access. Different operating systems have different ways to set these configurations, but the names of these different options should be similar across different operating systems. For example, in Mac OS, you can see there's an option to configure IP version 4 either automatically using DHCP, or you have an option to choose manual, and then you can add the IP addresses into your configuration by hand. The easiest configuration, though, is to use DHCP. So the IP address, subnet mask, router, and DNS information will all be populated on my device from the configurations that we've made on our Soho router. One set of devices that has become rather important in our small offices and home offices are the IoT devices. These are the Internet of Things devices. These are usually focused around home automation, and they're usually connecting to your network using 802.11 wireless connectivity. These would be your thermostats, your light switches, security cameras, door locks, and anything else that talks out to the internet so that you can gain access to these devices using your mobile phone.
Okay.
From a configuration perspective on your Soho router, there's not much that needs to be done. These devices will automatically communicate outbound, which makes it very easy for you then to connect to a central server to gain access to these Internet of Things devices.
Okay, done. Last one. So now, we talked about something that we're going to get into next week. IP address, DHCP, DNS, and default gateway. An IP address is an address that all computers must have to associate with the network that they're on. DHCP is a way to receive an IP address. Because IP addresses change all the time. The IP address that you have here at Gwinnett Tech is not the same IP address at your house, or at the library, or downtown Gwinnett. They all change. So this device is a server, spits it out and gives it to you. And you'll get a different address most of the time whenever you come to Gwinnett Tech, a different address. This guy does this. This guy says, hey, my job is to give a name to an IP address. So instead of remembering Amazon.com IP address, this guy says, hey, I'll do it for you. All you got to do is go to your browser and type in www.amazon.com, and I will translate it for you. Because computers don't understand names. They do understand numbers, ones and zeros. We can convert ones and zeros to something that's called an IP address. Problem is, we don't go around looking, hey man, what's the IP address for Amazon? Well, why did you just type in Amazon.com? Oh, well, what's the IP address anyway? Why do you need it? Because I want to go to Amazon. It might change tomorrow. So if you just type in the domain name, you never have to worry about addresses changing. But you need a device that will map an IP address with a domain name. See, domain names don't change. So I know you're into gambling, right? And dope smoking. So you're going to go to your favorite dope smoking website called dopesmoking.com, right? And get your good, get loud. That loud stuff y'all smell, right? Y'all buy. Stuff that stinks. Yeah, so you know about it. Okay, so you want to always go to the same domain name, loudsmokingdope.com. You don't, but sometimes the address change. The IP address change, but you don't want to remember the IP address. You just want to remember dopesmoking.com. So dopesmoking.com, this guy says, hey, don't worry about the IP address. It's always, whenever you type in dopesmoking.com, I'll make sure you go to the right IP address. That's why this is important, very important. Now the gateway, that's really a router. Think of the gateway as some device that takes you out to the internet. So we'll talk about this more next week. So now last thing we're going to talk about is let's go back to this network card because it's most important. I'm going to wrap up with this last video. The network interface card. Some things about this network card you need to know. You need to know about this network card. Let's do it. Do it. Ready? All right.
Cybersecurity today is so messy and expensive. And why does...
What is a MAC address? So that is the topic of this video. Now the MAC, or Media Access Control Address, is an identifier that every network device uses to uniquely identify itself on a network. So no two devices anywhere in the world will have the same MAC address. The MAC address is made up of a 6-byte hexadecimal number that is burned into every NIC by its manufacturer. The MAC address can contain any number, and it also contains alphabets from A through F. The MAC address is broken up into 2 parts. The first 3 bytes identifies the manufacturer of the NIC, such as Linksys, Netgear, TP-Link, and so on. and the last 3 bytes are a unique number from the manufacturer that identifies each device on a network. The MAC address is also referred to as the physical address or hardware address.
Okay.
Now, MAC addresses are formatted in different ways. On a Windows computer, it will look like this, with dashes in between the digits.
Okay.
On Apple and Linux systems, it will have colons in between the digits.
Okay.
And Cisco will display the MAC address like this, where 4 sets of digits are separated by periods.
So all of these are the same MAC address, but because of the operating system, it's done different. But it's still the same, it's the same network card, but it's just different operating system. So if I install Windows with the network card that has this MAC address, it will look like that. And if I did an Apple or Linux, it will look like that. And if it's Cisco router or switch, it will look like that. Does that make sense? The numbers are the numbers, the letters the same? Yes or no?
Yeah.
0045863A166.
Just the physical.
They're all the same. But it's not one network card now. Don't get this wrong. This is one network card, but it just this just shows you in different operating systems. It's formatted different, but it's still the same network. There's no other network card in the entire world that has this. Say I have them. Here's one here, one here last week. Assume right now, look. Assume that this is a Ethernet card. This is a network interface card right here, and that's an address burned in right there. I can tell you right now, there's no other card on the planet Earth that has that same address. No other card in the world has that same address. Period. In a full stop. Can't be. I know it's crazy, but it's true.
So what exactly is the purpose of the MAC address? Well, the purpose of the MAC address is so network devices can communicate with each other. Whenever a device wants to talk to another device, it's ultimately done using the MAC address. And this is whether the devices are close to each other, such as being on the same network, or if they are thousands of miles apart on a different network. The bottom line is that devices communicate with each other using the MAC address. Now you might be asking yourself, well, if devices talk to each other using the MAC address, what is the purpose of an IP address? I mean, aren't IP addresses also unique? Well, public IP addresses are unique, but public and private IP addresses can periodically change.
Yep.
So you may have had a certain IP address for the past few months, but an internet service provider or a network administrator can change your IP to a different one. But MAC addresses don't change. They are permanent. Now, the way TCP/IP works, which is the language that's used on networks and the internet, a networking device needs both an IP address and a MAC address.
Yes.
The IP and MAC address work together so devices can talk to each other. So as I stated before, the MAC address is used to identify a device, but an IP address is used to locate that device. So for example, in a typical neighborhood, you have houses and you have people living in those houses.
Okay.
Each house has a mailing address and the person living inside has a name. An IP address is like the mailing address of a house. The mailing address tells us what country, city, and the street of where the house is located. But it doesn't necessarily tell us who lives in the house. But a MAC address is like the name of the person. It tells us who lives in the house. So an IP address tells us where a networking device is located. But a MAC address tells us specifically who the device is.
Harbor Freight tools keep getting better with time. Better performance, better durability.
So as I stated before, the MAC address is ultimately used when devices want to talk to each other. So here we have a local area network that you would find in a typical home or business. So let's say that computer A wanted to communicate with computer B on this local network. So computer A is going to inspect computer B's IP address to see if it's on the same network or not. So after inspection, computer A now knows that computer B is on the same network because the IP addresses are in the same group. So now, in order for communication to take place, computer A needs computer B's MAC address. And it finds this by sending out what's called an ARP, or Address Resolution Protocol broadcast. So it will broadcast to every device on its local network, asking computer B to identify itself by asking for its MAC address. Then once computer B tells computer A its MAC address, communication can finally take place. So in another scenario, what if two devices wanted to communicate with each other, but they were on different networks? So let's say that computer A wanted to go to google.com. Now, in order for computer A to go to google.com, it needs the MAC address for Google's web server. But the problem is that it doesn't know what it is. So this is why it needs the IP address to get the web server's MAC address. So computer A will type in google.com in its web browser, and then DNS will change google.com into an IP address so computers can understand it. So computer A will inspect Google's IP address and realize that the IP is not in its local network because the IP address is not in the same group as its local network. So now computer A realizes that Google's IP address is on a different network. And since it's on a different network, it's going to forward that data to its default gateway, which is the router, and then it will let the router deal with it. So again, computer A will send out an ARP broadcast, and this time it will ask for the MAC address of the default gateway. And once it has the MAC address, it will send the data to the default gateway. Then once the default gateway has the data, it will inspect Google's IP address and determine the best path for the data to reach the destination. So it will forward the data to the next router. But before it can forward the data, it also needs the next router's MAC address.
Really?
So it's also going to do an ARP broadcast and ask for that router's MAC address. Then once it has it, it will forward the data. And then that router needs the MAC address of the next router, and so on. Then once the data reaches the final router in its path, that router needs the MAC address of Google's web server. And then once it has it, the data has reached its final destination. So as you can see, each time data is passed between a computer or a router, it uses the MAC address to forward the data at each step. So to summarize, the IP address is used to locate and get to the final destination, but the MAC address is used at each step on its way to the final destination.
What do you think about that? Does it make sense?
Now, if you want to find...
Right here. Where are you? Look at this right here. This guy right here wants to talk to google.com, right? He knows nothing about this MAC address. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. He'll never know it, honestly, to be honest. He'll never know this MAC address. Because he's going to use these guys right here to get that piece of information over here. This guy knows this MAC address. And he knows this MAC address. But he doesn't know this MAC address or this MAC address. Does he care? No, because he's going to rely on this cat to eventually get it over here. So he sends a piece of information using this person's MAC address. Sends it to this guy. This guy says, oh, you want to go all the way over here? The best way for me to go is to send it to this guy's address. MAC address. He sends a piece of information over here. This guy says, oh, I know exactly where this person lives because that's his MAC address. Do you see that? Once you understand what I just told you, you got this network stuff. You got it down pat. It took me years. I just couldn't understand this process. And then one day I was driving down the street or I was running. I was doing something. All of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I get it. And everybody's looking around like, what, is he crazy? It's like, I saw the picture. I was like, oh, I really know the difference between a MAC address and an IP address. And I know that MAC addresses only talk to local people. They don't talk to people way over here. That's the purpose of the IP address. When you get that, you're going to be ready to be an engineer. Right now, you ain't one.
Each step. So to summarize, the IP address is used to locate and get to the final destination, but the MAC address is used at each step on its way to the final destination. Now, if you want to find out the MAC address of a computer,
Okay.
this is how you do it.
How do you do
So
it?
on a Windows computer, you just open up a command prompt and type ipconfig/all.
All right, tell me how to do it. Come on.
On the search on the bottom,
Search on the bottom. Okay. Now what?
CMD.
You want to do CMD? CMD. Command prompt?
Yep.
CMD. Okay. That's one way. Give me another way. CMD. So I'm hearing a couple things. One is CMD, right? CMD, which just stands for command prompt. CMD. What's another way? Come on. I know you're ready to go, because I'm ready to go. CMD. What's another way? Terminal? Terminal? That's another way. No? Okay. And what's the third way? PowerShell? Terminal? And I think the other one was PowerShell, right? This is in Windows. I think I spelled it right. PowerShell. Let's try that one. PowerShell. Windows PowerShell. Okay, cool. Works for me. All right, so let's do CMD for the giggles. CMD. Bam. All right. So now I want to find my MAC address for my computer. My MAC address. And next week we're going to go through all this. We're going to map out the network at Tech. So the command we're going to use is ipconfig space /all. See that?
And child space.
Without the space. No, you need space. You can't do this. Can't do this. I don't think. Oh shit, I just learned something. Ah! Stand by. See, I told you, you can teach your old dog new tricks. Clear? CLS. So you can do ipconfig/all without a space? Yes. Get out of here. ipconfig/all. Yep, they both work. Okay. I just learned something. CLS. Okay. So ipconfig. I gotta get used. Oh, I'm so used to putting that space in there. All. I'm sorry, y'all, but I was taught to put a space, but that's okay. Both work. Okay, cool. Actually, wait a minute. I got more stuff. Did I get more stuff? No. No. Yeah. No, it's the same. Okay. Where's my MAC address? Anybody? Physical address. It's the MAC address, because the MAC address never changed. See it? That's the MAC address. Now next week I'll tell you about the other stuff. We just learned about hardware today, right? Hardware. Nick, question mark was all of this garbage, right? Twisted pair, coax, fiber, antenna. And then we talked about the NIC, and the NIC always has a burned-in MAC card on it. This has a burned-in MAC card on it because it's a wireless device. It has to have a MAC address. The MAC address on phones is called a MEIEMIEA or something like that. All right, so I don't feel like doing a lab. Who wants to do a lab? I really don't feel like. I'm supposed to do one lab each day, but y'all got 2 labs y'all got to do. Install a network card. I'm gonna do this for you real quick. How hard is this? Real hard? I tell you what, I'll do this one for you and we leave. What's the other one? What's that? Lab Wi-Fi configuration. Oh, that's on your own. You can do that one. Come on. This one should be really easy. Well, you guys can do this. Start the lab. You work as an IT administrator for a small corporate network. To accommodate specific network communication needs for an upcoming project, you need to upgrade the network connection speed for the Windows workstation located in an executive office. Are we there now? Is this executive? Install the network card with the fastest speed into the exec computer. Tell me what to do. Which one should I use? Should I use this one? Modem? No, no modem, man. So it looks like can we use this one? That one? That one? So it looks like we only have 4 choices. Here's our connections right here. Right there. So that means that if I use this, it has to be twisted pair. That means it can't be coax and it can't be fiber, so it has to be twisted pair. So I already know this, you don't know it, maybe you do know it. This one, if it says SX, that's fiber. 10 GB SR, that's fiber. So it looks like it's gonna be between these 2 cats right here. Right here. So, you've done this. What do? You do this, you go back, or you do a motherboard? Motherboard? Okay. So I got my PCI slots, right? That looks like PCI 2. This look at 16, 16, 16, I think. So which one of these you want to try? This one right here? The little baby one? I don't know, how does it work? Right here like this? Drop it in here? The blue one? Sure. Okay, now what? Go up here, and then go what? Back? Okay. See, something's already connected to it. Right here. See, that's the built-in network card right there. So what should I do?
Switch the cable to the other one.
Works for me. You said you wanted the fastest one. Are we still connected? I just clicked that and it should be down here. Ooh. It's not lighting up, man. What's up? Where is this going? Y'all didn't even do this. Not good. Is there something else in here? Is there another computer in here? No. Oh, it's going in. Sorry. Oh, it's the phone. Let me just turn this on its back. And if I click this, click that. Yep. And I click this. Yep. Okay. That's a what, voice over IP phone? Mm-hmm. Okay. Front. Okay, so we still connected. Can we? Is that it? Are we done? What do we do now? Turn it on?
Yeah.
Turn it on. Front. Click the button. Connect the exec computer to the local network using the new network card. From the workstation's operating system, use the ping command to confirm that the workstation has a connection to the local network. Blah, blah, blah. Local server IP address. What do I do? Go.
I already did this.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm doing it for everybody else though. So you ahead of the game. Okay, now what? CMD? Didn't like CMD. Nope, doesn't like CMD. Terminal?
Yes.
Yep. Terminal. Now what? I'm ready to go. What are we doing now? Say what? IP, CON, FIG. See, it doesn't recognize that. Oops. Wait, that all fell. Sorry. It doesn't recognize without when I put. See when I did that, my friend? Yeah, that's weird. So I'm gonna go back to my space. Okay, do we have an IP address now? 192.168.0.46. Yep. So I should be able to ping. What's the ping command all about? What does that do?
Mm-hmm.
0.10. What do you think? So we have another command called ping, P-I-N-G. Ping will allow you to check connectivity to another device. Really good in troubleshooting. So he told me to ping one of these IP addresses. Here. I just pinged this cat right here. And what did it say? What did it tell me? Reply, reply 4 times. Did you receive? Sent? You receive 4 back. So what happens with a ping is you send the ping command to a device and it should respond back. So if you send 4 pings, I expect 4 responses. I got 4 responses. And how many did I lose? 0. So I didn't lose anything. So that means that this guy's up and he's running, everything's okay with him, connectivity wise. So I hit this cat. So now I'm gonna test this cat out right here. So what do I type? Same thing?
Ping.
Up arrow key. 198.2.2.254. 4 pings. Looks good to me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Reply. She replied 4 times. Reply, 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 reply. How many sent? 4. 5th flow. Receive. 4. Lost. Off. I think we ready to go. No? Yes? No? Maybe?
Yeah.
Bye. Don't run out. Walk.